Hey, welcome back to BYTE Me, your go-to podcast for everything from latest tech trends to the future of AI. I'm your host, Laikaaa, and today we're tackling a topic that's been on everyone's mind lately. Are we letting AI get too smart or not smart enough? From voice assistants that know when you're about to ask for pizza to AI social media algorithms that predict your next purchase before you even think about it. This technology is evolving at a lightning fast speed, but with this growth comes a crucial question. Are we ready for the world we're creating? Or are we losing control? So let's dive in, buckle up, because this is going to be a fun ride. It feels like AI is everywhere, right? We're not just talking about the science fiction stuff anymore. AI is part of our daily lives and is in ways we hardly notice. Take your phone, for instance. When you send a message, your phone isn't just sending words. It's predicting the next words and autocorrecting it. And sometimes it predicts this based on your context or the mood or what you typed last Tuesday. And that's just the beginning. Apps like Google Photos use AI to organize your pictures without even having to tag them. They recognize faces, places, objects with levels of accuracy that makes us feel like there's magic in the air. And then there's your smart homes. Smart thermostats like Nest learn your habits, adjusting the temperature based on when you wake up or when you leave the house. And let's not forget smart fridges which track your food inventory. These days, your food might even suggest recipes based on what's inside. Is it practical? Yeah. Is it also a little bit unsettling? Definitely. Your fridge might know more about your eating habits than you or your best friend. But here's the kicker. It's not even just the obvious stuff. We're seeing AI integration in places we'd never expect, of like self-checkout kiosks that read your facial expressions to assess your emotional state, or AI-powered security system that identify potential threats based on a person's gait, even AI-assisted healthcare devices that can diagnose conditions before doctors can. It's exciting, but it's also making us rethink what we can expect from technology. At what point does convenience start to become a bit too invasive? All right, let's dig a little bit deeper. We've established that AI is everywhere, but who's pulling the strings behind the curtains? When we talk about AI, it's easy to forget that these systems are created, trained, and maintained by humans. And the choices that made by developers shape the outcome we see. Take chatbots like ChatGPT, for example. These AI models are trained on massive amounts of data from books, articles, websites, and even more. But that data isn't neutral. It reflects bias, cultural context, and perspectives based on where it came from. And the same goes for any AI system, may it be an image recognition tool or a recommendation engine. And the concerns don't stop there. In recent years, there's been growing scrutiny over the ethical implications of AI, especially when it comes to the data it relies on. If a social media algorithm is trained on biased data, for example, it could disproportionately recommend content that reinforces stereotypes or even radicalizes its users. These systems, in essence, are only as good or bad as the data they're built on. Let's get into the social aspect for a moment. In the world of AI-driven personalization, we see our own habits and preferences being tracked. But who's actually profiting from this data? A recent study found that the top 10 AI companies made billions off selling personal data, and most of the time consumers don't even realize what's happening behind the scenes. It's a bit of a wild west out there in terms of regulations. While some countries are beginning to create ethical frameworks around AI development, others are still trying to catch up. And the big question remains, who controls the power behind artificial intelligence? And who's responsible when it goes wrong? Now, let's take a step back. All this sounds quite dystopian, right? You might be wondering, where are we heading? A world where AIs are overlord? The short answer is probably not, but the longer answer is, it's a little bit more complicated. AI is a tool. It's meant to enhance human ability, not replace it. But the more we integrate AI into our daily lives, the more we tend to rely on it. And the question becomes, where do we draw the line between using AI as a tool and letting it control too much of our lives? Take voice assistants, Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. They've all become part of our daily routines. We ask them to play music, set reminders, even control our lights. But what happens when these systems get smarter? What happens when they're no longer just responding to commands, but anticipating our needs, predicting our desires, making decisions for us? Consider the ethical dilemma of AI decision making in more serious contexts. Imagine an AI system deciding who gets hired for a job based on data, who qualifies for health insurance, and even who gets a loan. In these cases, the decisions all have major impacts on people's lives, and while AI can be an incredibly powerful tool for reducing human error, it also brings up a massive question about accountability. If an AI makes a biased decision, who's responsible for that? So where does this all leave us? Well, one thing's for sure, AI isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's only going to get smarter, but as this technology evolves, we really have to be mindful about how it's being created and how it's being used. There's a growing movement among developers, technologicalists, and AI researchers to make AI more transparent, ethical, and inclusive. The idea is to humanize artificial intelligence, and not just in the way it interacts with us, but in the way it's created. Developers are working on making AI more explainable, meaning that when it makes a decision, we'll be able to understand why it did it. But we're also seeing the rise of ethical AI initiatives where developers make a conscious effort to eliminate bias in algorithms. As a consumer, we also have a role to play. We can demand more transparency from companies building AI, asking tough questions about data usage, accountability, and fairness. And as individuals, we can stay informed about potential risks and rewards of AI so that we don't become passive users. We become active participants in shaping the future. So what's next? Well, So what's next? Well, the future of AI is full of potential and also full of unknowns. It could revolutionize industries like healthcare, education, and transportation, and it could also help us solve some of the world's biggest challenges like climate change, poverty, or world hunger. But it could also bring unforeseen challenges, ones that we need to prepare for. We've already seen AI being used to manipulate elections, spread misinformation, and invade privacy, and if we're not careful, AI could rather become a tool for control rather than freedom. The key is balance. We need to harness the power of AI while also protecting our humanity. We need to ask the hard questions, push for transparency, and ensure that AI remains a tool for good and not a weapon of harm. And that's it for today's episode of BYTE Me. I hope this conversation about AI got you thinking. What do you think? Are we headed towards a utopia or a dystopia with AI? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this episode, make sure to rate and follow us so you don't miss next week's deep dive into the world of tech and how it's changing the way we interact with people. Until next time, stay curious, tech savvy, and stay wired.